Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online Kashmir Cultural Heritage Awareness Series. Today is our 62nd week, and the topic today is Kashmir, a great place to visit, by Sri Arun Jayaraman. Today's prayer is by Srimati Shakuntala Shankaracharya. Shakuntala ji is from our Mandavali neighborhood in Chennai. She is actively involved in several community development initiatives by being a participant and also in the committees. Her guru is Srimati Chandrika, and she continues to learn devotional songs. We are delighted she is joining us today for prayer. Shakuntala ji, please.
ஓம் அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே அருமுகன் சோதரனே அனைமுகனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே அருமுகன் சோதரனே அனைமுகனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே துன்பங்கள் தீர்த்தருளும் தூயவனே துன்பங்கள் தீர்த்தருளும் தூயவனே துன்பங்கள் தீர்த்தருளும் தூயவனே துதிப்போம் உன்னையே துதிக்கையனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே அருமுகன் சோதரனே அனைமுகனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே வணங்கி உன்னை வேண்டி செய்யும் செயல்களில் வந்திருந்து நீயும் வெற்றி அளிப்பாயே வணங்கி உன்னை வேண்டி செய்யும் செயல்களில் வந்திருந்து நீயும் வெற்றி அளிப்பாயே மன்னரையானாலும் மதி துணை போற்றுவரே மன்னரையானாலும் மதி துணை போற்றுவரே மன்னரே ஆனாலும் மதி துணை போற்றுவரே மூவுலகோ பணியோ மோதக பிரியனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே அருமுகன் சோதரனே அனைமுகனே அன்பர்கள் நேயனே ஐங்கரனே ஐங்கரனே ஐங்கரனே.
Thank you, Shakuntala ji. It was very nice that you could join us at a very short notice, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
As always, we begin our program thanking Sri Kanchi Math for our ongoing Kashmir initiatives and offer our namaskarams to His Holiness Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal. Kanchi Math has always been in the forefront, modestly working with the sole aim of national integration, spiritual enlightenment, and preserving the uniqueness of Kashmir, as Kashmir is our cultural heritage. We are delighted Arun ji is joining us for our 62nd series in spite of his tight schedule and travel plans. Thank you, Arun, for joining.
Namaskar.
Arun Jayaraman lives in Manchester in the UK with his family, from where he is joining today. Arun is a mechanical engineer from Vishvesvaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur, and postgraduate industrial management from NITI, Mumbai. He is also a certified supply chain professional. As a supply chain professional, Arun has been with the TVS Supply Chain Solutions UK for nearly 20 years, following a successful career spanning prior 10 years in the automotive sector with Ford and Asia. He leads one of the supply chain divisions within TVS SCS and responsible for delivering best-in-class service for global OEMs and their international suppliers in the auto and industrial sector. As we all know, TVS is India's leading business house with global operations in several countries. Arun, before I request you to share your experience, just want to mention that this is not an infomercial, meaning it's not a paid presentation after a paid visit. All our speakers, including Kashmiri Pundits, join us on their own without any remuneration, with the main goal of highlighting the greatness of Kashmir. Kashmir, as we all know, has been in the national news very recently, and we have been seeing as a national treasure based on what we have covered in our series so far in 61 series, and is never ending. We will continue this. Our speakers include Kashmiri Pandits and Muslims too. The expectation of everyone alike is the return of Kashmiri Pandits to Kashmir. One main aspect that I feel proud is Arun has been watching our programs whenever time permits, and that must have made him select Kashmir as a destination temple tourism visit this time. He makes it a point to visit India every year, and one destination will be based on ancient temples. We are so delighted and privileged to have someone like him joining to reaffirm that our presentations are helping. I request Arun to explain this more and very pleased to hand over to him. I would like to also introduce Srimati Sita Sabeshan, who has been involved in Kashmir long before our series started. She and her father, who is the president of MDS, that is conducting these programs, have been visiting Kashmir during Shankaracharya from 2010. Sita is joining us today. Joining is very appropriate as she will explain about the travel plans during other times of the year later on, not just Shankaracharya alone. She will join us after Arun's presentation. Over to you, Arun. And once again, we look forward to your presentation, which is going to be a prime motivation for everyone to start visiting or undertaking the pilgrimage to Kashmir.
Namaskar to all.
Arun, I think Sita has just joined. Sita, I'm not able to see you. Oh, I think it is
Because
the lighting is not very clear. Okay, we'll bring her on later.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Arun.
Yeah, Namaskar to all. And thank you for the introduction, Shankar. And thank you to Kanchi Mutt for giving me the opportunity to speak as part of this series. I really feel honored. Unlike other learned speakers who I've watched in the series, please bear with me. I'm just going to be sharing our experience of our recent vacation in Kashmir with thinking that aligned with one of the Tamil proverbs I remember, Yam Petra Inbam Pergai Vayagam, Trimullar's proverb. It only translates to this world shall get the bliss I got. And with that theme, I just want to share our experience of our visit to Kashmir in August. Shankari, please tell me if, whether the slides are coming through. So, yeah.
Arun, this is the one, right? We start with this.
Absolutely. This is the one. And I just captured a picture of a part of Kashmir where we visited, so it puts in context where all we visited. So I will be talking about our visit to Srinagar, and Ganderbal is basically Kir Bhavani Temple, and also Pahalgam. So it puts it in the context of the map. But just starting as to how our interest arose to visit Kashmir. It was after a 2-year break in travels, due to COVID and restrictions that many of you would have also felt the same with the travel restrictions. We were considering places to visit. My wife Kavita and I have 2 teenage boys. So as a family, when we visit, we evaluate places places to visit based on few consideration. Of course, listening to this series, especially from the sessions from Dr. Kala Nagaswamy and Giridhar Mamidi, it aroused our interest to visit the temples in Kashmir. But then when we visit as a family, we do have a few considerations because we go with, especially I mentioned teenage boys. So our considerations, typically when we visit, we have a few considerations, and Kashmir seemed to have ticked all the boxes, luckily for me, although temples were in the main agenda. Of course, the weather has to be good. We visited in July, August time. So Kashmir weather was fantastic. So, I mean, in terms of even before planning, we thought it would be fantastic to, visit during that time. Cultural heritage, needless to say, the temples, the history associated with it, the lifestyle, and the place has provision for, adventure as well as filled with scenic beauty. So it ticked all the boxes that we would have considered as a family. Having considered Kashmir as a place amongst other places, we normally inquire friends and family whether anybody has visited to get some tips. But for Kashmir, we did not get any reference. Even from one of my friends who I studied with in engineering, who actually studied in Kashmir till some particular time, and he got transferred over during the conflict time to Nagpur. And when I asked him, he said 30 years he has not visited Kashmir. I started to understand the plight of people who have moved out from that time, and felt a bit sorry for that. But I didn't still get any references. Some friends even said that why Kashmir? It is not a safe place, and also wishing us safety and kind of being skeptical about our visit. But we still went ahead to plan to visit with the confidence that I gained from people talking about in this session, especially. I know Shankar had visited and a few other people had visited. So that gave me some confidence. And, since it ticked all the boxes as well, we decided to go ahead anyway. So we then made a plan to visit. The plan looked like, we made a week's plan, and 3 days in the plan we divided into 2, 3 days in Srinagar visiting the temples, and we chose based on a desktop research Pahalgam, which appeared to be a scenic place and with things to do as well. So in our plan, as you can see, we tried to mix temple visits with some scenic places, so sightseeing. So we shortlisted 4 temples, Shankaracharya temple being one, Kir Bhavani temple, and then we also shortlisted Martan and Jeshtamata temples as the main temples that we wanted to see in the time. And we tick marked a few activities. Of course, everybody who's aware of Srinagar come across Dal Lake, so we kept that on the agenda. And then the gardens and some of the scenic places to do. And we also had picked up a few activities which such as paragliding, rafting, and trekking as activities that we could do there. So with that as a broad agenda, we had a plan in mind, and we landed in Kashmir. This was end of July, on 30th July. So when we landed, the first thing that set us in the mood was the airport itself. As we landed, we were welcomed in the airport to see a baggage belt in the form of a shikara boat was amazing. Some of you might have seen in Dal Lake, shikara is a kind of boat which you can hire and go around. So the baggage belt was in that shape, and our host, we booked hotels both in Srinagar and some resorts in Pahalgam. So our host, we were able to get things arranged to move from the airport to the city. Must say that as soon as we started driving from the airport, the weather was very welcoming. Especially we landed from Chennai via Delhi. After all that hot weather and sweat, suddenly we landed in a place which was we were not there was good sunshine, no sweat. What a beautiful, it was bright and nice, and it was very welcoming. So as we moved from the airport to the city, we could start we started we seeing a lot of I would say army presence and patrols and everything. Mixed feelings on that. While we felt safe, there is also some people it could kind of put some doubt in their mind why there is so much of presence of army and police. But to our point, we felt a bit safe, and then we could see every one of the army people. A salute to them also, being on alert. Everybody was very very alert in the city. And then we moved to the our bed and breakfast, where we arranged to stay. Because it was about late in the afternoon, we decided to most of the temples would have closed. So in our agenda itself, we thought we'll do something in the evening. We picked up sightseeing in Dal Lake was the first activity. So if you see in Dal Lake, we were really unlike some of the other lakes that we visited in other parts of the world and in India. This seemed to be giving us a totally different experience. There was something to do for everyone, in the sense, when we hired a shikara, as you can see in the last top left picture. The shikara boat we hired for 3 hours. It offered places to. It offered very scenic surroundings. You could see the mountains. You could see the lake, the big expanse of the lake. But then we also saw in the sea. If you see on the top right, we also saw this lake is being used as transport for. It's almost like for people using it as a local transport to move from one part of the village to one part of the lake to another part of the lake. So they were using, even women using that as a mode of transport. When I say women, riding the boat, and it is used as a transport to move from one place of the lake to another place of the lake. There's also, we could see vegetable being farmed. I was told by the guide that was doing the shikara ride for us, that there is vegetation in the lake that is being cultivated and produced and sold. We also could see, as the night fell, we could spot in the mountain. I don't know if you're able to see the arrow. There was the Shankaracharya temple visible in that light. So nice to see that. There was a marketplace in the lake, so we could have a stopover and have a cup of tea or badam milk, which is special for that area. So it was a nice outing that we had in Dal Lake. It reminded me. It gave us a feeling. It is not a lake. It is more a thriving village. That's how we felt. I could show you a short clip. I don't know, Shankar, you can tell me if it is working. We were able to be on the lake and stop over just to give you a feel how it looked like with, as a lake, and doing that and stopping over. It almost gave a feeling that we were in a village as opposed to a lake, but it's a beautiful, thriving village. So we finished that. We went back to our hotel. And then the next day, we were very much looking forward to this trip, which is the visit to Shankaracharya Temple. And having heard a lot about the temple from this program, we knew a little bit of history, but nothing like visiting there. So we when we went up to the hill, we already saw there was a Shankaracharya trail when we were going up the car. I wish we had known that before, which could have taken us by a walk and trek, but we landed there. There was some set of stairs, flight of stairs to climb to get to the temple. And when we reached at the top of the temple, there was this, first we saw the Shiva temple there. There was Aarti time on the temple. We did have a good darshan there. And we spoke to the Panditji, who was he was very happy to share his contact and to say if there is a prior arrangement for Archana or those kind of things, he would be able to happily do that in pre-arranged or even on behalf of us. So that was nice to see. But what captivated us was the cave where Shankaracharya in 8th century AD visited there and wrote Saundarya Lahari in that cave. And it was a moment of bliss, I would say, as we entered. You could see this is what you would see inside the cave. We were able to do a brief meditation there. I don't know there is an equivalent word in English or not. Paravasam is what comes to my mind. If at that moment where we went inside the cave and meditated, we felt really blessed and very blissful. Even now, after several days after the visit, if I think about that moment, I really feel very blessed, and I'm able to recall the same feeling. So, which is, I think, very, very special to have visited and felt that. And a lot of us know about Shankaracharya traveling from south to north 3 times in his lifetime and east to west and establishing things. But visiting the place made me relate to that more, and what a special place it should have been for for a personality like Shankaracharya also to have to be able to visit the place and get the same feeling. After we visited, we could see, after we visited the temple, from the temple we could see there were a lot of good views from the temple. You could see full Srinagar view as well as surroundings. There's also a Gauri Kund there. Probably it would have been operational at some point, but it was there. You could see my son as if he's jumping from that, but it is not. There's a safe landing place. It did bring some adrenaline flow to me when I saw that when I was taking the picture. Then we came down. You could see nice walkway back to the back to the ground. But there's all these trees that you see. This is the flora and fauna of Srinagar. They call it Chinar tree or English maple tree. So we find a lot of those trees. This is not particularly that, but we find that around the temple. There was also a langar that was served there, and it's a very simple meal, timely for a bit of a chilly weather to have hot food, but simple dal and rice and a sabji which was served, and we had that. It was so so nice to have it like a prasadam after the temple visit. And post that visit, we then headed out to the city, old city. We wanted to do this old city tour only because as I mentioned in the beginning when I spoke to my friend who was from Kashmir as well as from hearing from many of the Kashmiri Pundits who spoke in this, it aroused our interest. What it would be if before all this moving out happened, so we thought a good city tour, especially the old city tour, would be bringing to life some of the things that were there during that time. We could not visit Hari Parbat Fort due to some government engagement during that time. But as we went to the city, we found, you can see when as we were moving, progressing there, it was a little bit of houses in a very rundown condition. But then when we reached to the middle of this old city, we saw Jhelum River, and on the sides of the river, we could see houses with unique architecture. I've never seen in other parts of India with this many number of windows. The top left 3 pictures, you can see that there's houses which were a bit deserted, look a bit deserted, but beautiful on the banks of the river. no doubt, the civilization with such a blessed place would have been thriving at some point of time, with lakes and mountain views and weather and everything. But the architecture was unique to see. The Jhelum River gave us the good feel of how it would have been during that time. And then we finished the old city tour carrying mixed feeling, and we moved um, the next day to, let me move the slide for a second. Yeah. On that night, I must say, before I move to the next slide, on that night, unfortunately, my son fell sick. It's just the general thing with tour that comes, the diarrhea and vomiting kind of thing. But the local guide or the local host was very helpful. We went to a nearby hospital, Khyber Hospital. We got that sorted out, and we started the next day a bit late. We were planning to go to Jeshtamata temple as a first thing in the morning. We couldn't do that, so we switched around our plan, and we visited Kheer Bhavani temple. The Kheer Bhavani temple, it's about 45 minutes. Sorry. Yeah, the Kheer Bhavani temple, if I want to move. Hope it's Kheer Bhavani temple slide is on. So yeah, Kheer Bhavani temple is about 45 minutes drive, 25 kilometers to the northeast of Srinagar, and we took a taxi to go there. By the time we reached there, it was already 3 o'clock, and we didn't realize the temple closes much earlier. We tried to explain to the armed guards all the way through. There were guard presence and everything, but as we reached there, they said, we tried to convince the guards, saying that we've come all the way from Chennai, please can you allow us in. He made a comment that made us laugh, because he said, by the way, people who come here always come from far distances, so you don't need to say that, please come tomorrow. But somehow we managed to get some time and get in with some convincing to the guards. They were only doing their duty. The temple surroundings were beautiful, absolutely beautiful, with trees and with the temple structure in between. But what brought a lot of interest and relevance was when we met the Panditji there. You can see the Sannidhanam. He narrated the story so well, and again, it's a moment of blessing we had. The legend goes, obviously, more learned people would know a lot more facts, but the way we understood it was, it is the temple is in the memory of Ragya Devi or Kheer Bhavani, who appeared in front of Ravan in Sri Lanka, and pleased with his penance or tapas. And then after the war of Ramayana, she was unhappy with everything there, and she approached Hanuman to take her back to the abode of Shiva, which is the Himalayas. And Lord Hanuman said that I'm only a bachelor, and he suggested her to be in a water form to take her back to the Kheer Bhavani temple. And the Kheer Bhavani temple, what you see here, she turned into a water body, that is the spring, sacred spring. And what you see there in the Sannidhanam is the sacred spring, which the top right picture. So this is the only Sannidhanam where you can see Shiva and Parvati together. That spring, I believe, changes color as well, like changes to different colors, pink, blue. And when we went, it is supposed to be, it's been staying in that color, but during COVID times, told it's changed to black, but I have no means to get you a picture of that. But I believe it changes different colors depending on a festive or time and peaceful time and all that. So when the Panditji narrated all of that, I saw how that is, and also mentioned about Swami Vivekananda visiting here and obtaining some enlightenment from the goddess appearing in front of him as well before he went for penance. So that's lovely to hear. That was lovely to hear. We did, with the surroundings, we felt so peaceful. We took some pictures around, and then we were also served with kheer as prasad. I believe that is something the speciality of the temple. So we had a very, very good, we made very good memory of visiting there and felt very nice and blessed about the opportunity. We returned back from Kirbhavani temple. So on our way back, we did stop over for some shopping, some Kashmiri carpets and pashmina shawls. Not that we could buy any, some of that were very exquisite, and a lot of art and handicraft that were involved with that. We also went to a dry fruit shop. Kashmir is quite famous for walnuts, saffron, cardamom, honey, a lot of things. So we bought what we could. And then everywhere where we went, we were received with a warm welcome. And they serve us with what is called as a kewa tea. As you can see, there our sons having that. We also had it. It is made of saffron, cardamom, and honey and green tea. So it was very refreshing tea to have. It's also part of the local cuisine. So we had that. We did that shopping. And then we visited Nishat Bagh. It was absolutely breathtaking. It's one of the gardens that is there in Srinagar. And you could see in the pictures, there's a lovely view of the mountains behind with roses and various flowers blossoming there, and tall trees. Just to give you a picture of the size of the trees in the garden, we just stood next to it. There's also a view of the Dal Lake behind, and it was fantastic and beautiful. The history goes that Mughals, when they ruled in Delhi, they were visiting the place as a retreat during spring and summertime. So that was a beautiful place to visit as a sightseeing place. So we finished that. We returned. We also just wanted to say that there is good options for vegetarians to have. The good restaurants there. The one which we visited, we tasted some Kashmiri cuisine. We had the local naans and Kashmiri veg pulao. And then we also found a local dessert, which is a walnut cake with apple and walnut cake, all from local ingredients. And it was lovely to have that. We finished the day then. So the next day, we then decided to do our adventure part of the visit. We were planning to go towards Pahalgam, but then with the plan to attend to do this activity, paragliding. We've never done that before. So the getting up to the spot of the paragliding itself was an adventure. I don't know if this is taken from the van, the middle picture in the middle. As you can see, the road up the hill from where we have to do the paragliding itself was so narrow, and it was an adventure by itself. The tires just filled the road, and sometimes it was on the edge of it. So we actually went up, and at some point we got down because we could not feel the scare of sitting on the van and going there. Normally, it should be a four-wheel drive that should take you. On the day we went, it was just a van. And, we reached the spot at the top. That was just to give you a view of how the top looked like. And we got kitted out with what we have as the kit that you see. And I got some couple of clips. I hope it works. So how it takes off and how it lands, it looks scary, but the climb up to it was scary, but not the activity itself. So I'm just going to play the clip. Shankar, you can come in and say if it works. So this is just the takeoff where you go with one guide, and I'm just going to play a clip here. So it was a lovely take. It was looking scary, but then when we were on it, we were securely placed on it, and the takeoff, we were pretty much flying and getting an overview of the whole of Srinagar from there, and it was lovely to have the takeoff. And then the landing looked something like this. You could see it's a very smooth landing. You come on and you just almost walk. I did fall down because I didn't realize, I didn't translate what the guide was telling me to keep my legs straight. He was meaning legs straight to stand up. I was keeping my legs straight, so I landed on my bum, but it wasn't too hard. But that is how the paragliding experience was, which was one of the best experiences with respect to adventure we had. So moving on from there, we finished that, and then we were on our way to Pahalgam. The Pahalgam trip, one of the reasons we chose Pahalgam also was that on the way to it is Marthan Temple, and we passed through places what you would have generally heard in news, not for the right reasons, like Pulwama and Anantnag and all that. You might have not heard. You might not heard in good light, but then Marthan Temple is near Anantnag city. So going to Pahalgam, we wanted to originally do it during the onward trip, but we decided to because we took a little longer with the weather for paragliding. It has to be right. It took a longer time, so we could not do that on the way. We decided to do it on the way back. But then there was also a lot of army presence and trucks moving between the two places. And whenever an army truck goes, they go in a convoy for reasons that you would know. They don't go alone. But we still felt safe. It was beautiful on the way through with the flora and fauna of Kashmir, seeing chinar trees, poplar trees, which is another tree which matchsticks are made out of those trees, and also it's used for other boat building purposes and all that. We stopped over in an apple orchard. We got fresh apple juice. There's a lot of apple products there, but apple juice was very refreshing. We had that. And then we were passing by Lider River. What you see there is the rafting. We chose to do rafting there. It was a wonderful experience again. I just have a small clip to show you how it would be like. So with the streams, and we had a good rafting experience there. So as you can see, with water splashing all over, but it was a lovely rafting experience. We did that, and then we landed in our resort. The resort itself we chose with the desktop research. You can see the resort. The resort has got, it was by the Lider River side, beautiful, calm, serene. And you could see on the top left, the views from the room are facing Himalayas. And you can just come out of the, hotel, and you would see, you could get down to the bottom of the, you could get down to the river banks with rocks. You can feel the river flowing with your feet wet. It was such a lovely experience. There's also swings and relaxing sit-out areas in the resort itself. So it was lovely. We arranged as a bed and breakfast in this resort. The breakfast for people who are from south of India, you get a lot of options. I just meant to say that although it is there, you get right from idlis to parathas to everything on the breakfast that you can have. So we normally when we go on such a trip, we have a good breakfast, skip the lunch, and have the dinner. That is how we do it. So it was really nice. It was good to have that kind of variety in staying there. On the next day, I would say I would club 2 days together. The next and the following day, we visited. There is a place called Baisaran, which we went by pony ride, and Aru Valley, which we went by car and did some trekking there. There's some assorted pictures from that. There's this pony ride. We hire the pony at the resort itself, and when you reach the top of Baisaran, on the way itself, it's a 7-kilometer trek, but then you can go by foot or by pony. Because it was muddy during the time that we went, we couldn't have trekked all the way through, so the pony was a good place and a good idea to do. We then reached the top, and the Baisaran place is called Mini Switzerland. It was absolutely beautiful with scenic surroundings there. So we walked around, relaxed there. And then the next day we went to Aru Valley. Aru Valley is again, on the top right, you see that Aru Valley offers you a lot of opportunity to trek and feel the surroundings. So we had a wonderful time doing that, wonderful experience doing that. And so we, with all this, immersive experience in the nature, we then, we also had, in Pahalgam, the time we went was Amarnath Yatra. So Pahalgam is that way, July, August time is Amarnath Yatra happens, and there's a lot of yatris all around from India visiting the place. The town itself is so beautiful. The town center, it's small, Pahalgam, but then the town center it caters to again people like Amarnath Yatris coming in. There's temporary hospital set up for them and all that. So we had good vegetarian restaurant on the Pahalgam towns thing, and we had lovely khichdi. I don't think I've had any better khichdi than like that. I mean, it's lovely food there. There's also good walkways to go to that from the resort to this Pahalgam town center. So we did that. I've just pictured here a couple of other things before I go to Marthan Temple. One is a bat factory we visited, although it's not in Pahalgam. I just put a picture there. My younger one plays cricket, and we wanted to buy a Kashmir willow bat or Kashmir bat. So we went to bat factory, how it was made, and we bought a bat. And we also, I mean, must say that when we go to a place, we do try out some local cuisine, and we tried a local bakery there, which is traditional bakery. It was really nice. And then the trip that we were on that day was over, and then the last day where which we couldn't do Marthan Temple, we did it on that day, and it was an experience which the entire place came to life. I'm going to talk about what we did there. So when we were driving back, it's near the Anantnag city, this small town. And we happened to meet a guide who was from the Geological Society of India. So we are very, very fortunate and blessed to have him explain the place to us. It is, of course, some of the learned speakers in this session have talked about this. It's one of the 3 sun temples in India, the whole of India. Apart from this, there's one in Konark in Orissa, and I think there's another one in Gujarat, Mudera in Gujarat. This temple was built around the 8th century AD by Lalita Muktapadita, and I believe it took 36 years to build this temple. And the temple itself is surrounded by 84 small temples around, or they call it dwars. Each of these dwars is actually similar to the center, the main temple itself. So it's almost a replica of the main temple, and it's like a sundial. Like all times of the day, every temple in the 84 temples on the surrounding walls, they get the sunlight throughout the day. So that's the design of the temple. And in the center of the temple, in the Garbhagriha or Sanctum Sanctorum, there was only sun god in the temple, and on the top there was a yantra mounted. That's what the guide explained, which was like which was allowing the sun to come through all times of the day, unlike the 84 dwars where it come through the day. The center of the temple had that Garbhagriha, and it had sunshine throughout the day. And there were around the temple, there was 365 deities around the temple. And there was a drainage system supplying water to the temple from a tank 35 kilometers away. So all that was planned, and the build of the temple structure is such a way that it is an interlocking stone interlocking structure, not with cement. It's bricks interlocking each other, and then that interlocking structure of the thing reminded me of when I used to be a student guide, and I hail from Tanjore. I grew up, I did my schooling from Tanjore Brihadishwara temple. It reminded me of that, where the similar kind of let's call it technology itself, because it's just how they build the temple with the bricks interlocking each other, and made it very strong. I believe it would have definitely survived a lot of natural calamities, but it took. What was sad was it was destroyed in 15th century AD with almost 2 years of effort, I believe. I don't know. It made us feel very, very sad, but the whole place came to life when the guide explained to us about the temple. Gave us a very lovely feeling that we were able to see and experience such a temple. Wish it was still existent, but anyway, at least we thanked ourselves for the opportunity to visit and feel. Nothing like going there and feeling. So many of these, I mean, all the presentations that we saw and heard from the learned speakers did arouse our interest. But when we went there, we really felt it was something which is a place that we have to visit and feel. What I would say, um, if I was a poet, or any of us, he was a poet or historian or a holy man, I don't think we would have returned back from Kashmir. It was such a beautiful, blessed place. It was, definitely worth visiting. We also took away some thoughts after the visit. One of them being, um, if one has to visit a place like Kashmir, obviously there is a need for a local presence in terms of somebody who's guide or knows the place or knows things to be organized there. Because some cities we visit, we try to figure out on our own. I think Kashmir needs that kind of local support, for people to feel that right from the time they get in the airport, get down from the airport to the time they leave, they can entrust, or they can work with somebody to go around, navigate these places. Secondly, we also felt perhaps the J&K tourism or the government of India could qualify a list of providers who actually are approved for contacting and booking and things. That gives instead of us going and doing a search on the internet, who's right, who's wrong, or not who's right, who's wrong, or without knowing an authenticity of the place, perhaps they could be certified by a list of approved providers, could be certified by Government of India to promote people visiting. I'm reminded of Tamil Nadu tourism having certain guest houses. I don't know, things could be done in those directions. But I also want to, another thought that came, while this is more for visiting, my heart goes out for all those Kashmiri Pundits who actually, starting from the example I mentioned about my friend who has not visited for 30 years, but I got this opportunity to do this. But my heart goes out that they were not able to, live and experience and host in such scenarios, I do feel for them, and I hope some kind of a reconciliation happens and things become normal, and for Kashmiri Pandits as well. And I wish to seek. I know I projected this topic as Kashmir is a great place to visit, and it arouses a different feeling among Kashmiri Pandits who have been, for whom it has been a home. I hope at some point it happens and they are able to feel confidently living there and enjoying the place as they there. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to hand over to Shankar, and Shankar did mention about Mrs. Sita being able to sing. So I want to hand over at this point, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Arun. It is really fascinating, covering all 6 days or 7 days in about 45 minutes. Probably it should take more. Now, Arun is a recent visitor. He actually returned in August. We have an expert in organizing these trips for the last 10 years, Sita. Sita has been visiting Kashmir since 2010 during Shankaracharya, and she's going to just say a few words on what plans we have for rest of us to visit Kashmir periodically for temple tourism. Please, Sita, you want to say, based on what Arun presented, you can make some comments on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Shankar, for this opportunity. And Mr. Arun's 45 minutes took me back to Kashmir. It made me very emotional when I saw all the photographs about how we first visited Kashmir. First, my blessings to His Holiness Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamihal, who has given us this opportunity to perform Adi Shankara Jayanti in Kashmir for the past 10 years. Without Periva's Anugraham, I think nothing could have happened. So it just started off way back in 2010 when my son was in the 10th grade, and I was just telling Appa when I was in Kanjipuram, Appa, why don't we go visit Kashmir? Then Appa said, what are you talking? Then he started a small fight with me. As usual, he thinks, the elders think that, we are not mature enough to speak about something. And then as we were just talking, Pariva just passed by. Pariva just called, Enna Balu? Illa Pariva, iva edo, என்னமோ பேசுறா புரியாம ஏதோ கேட்டுட்டு இருக்கா என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டா காஷ்மீர் போகணும்னு சொல்றா அப்படின்னா போலாமே என்ன அதுல இருக்கு போலாமே அப்படின்னா டக்குன்னு பெரியவா said the same thing and அப்பா was taken back like காஷ்மீர் போகணுங்கிறா அங்கெல்லாம் வந்து ஒரே சண்டை எல்லாம் இருக்கு எப்படி இல்ல போலாம் it started off like this when just பெரியவா was going to puja and this thing happened and it all started off like that and then பெரியவா connected us to one person called Kandari and we had a short luxury trip. So Periva said, when you go from Chennai, you can take the flight. But when you're coming back from Kashmir, I want you to come by road. He said, no flight. So we were dead scared. Like, first time we are going. We didn't know anything. Nobody knows Hindi. So we took a flight from here. We landed in Srinagar. And there we met a person called Kandari who came and he took us to Jayeshtamata temple. The minute I went near the Jayeshtamata gate, there was nothing. You cannot, it was a steep thing which you have to walk. So I said, Appa, it's not possible for me to walk. Then my son said, no, it's okay. It's just going to be one time in the morning and one time in the evening. So it all started like that. That was the first time we went to Jayeshta Devi temple. So we stayed there. We met Mr. Bhatt. That was a time when His Holiness told us to give a survey. He said, why don't you go look and see how it is. So it all started off in that way. We went to Jayeshtamata temple, then we went to Kshir Bhavani. There was a lot of curfew that time when we went. So we
that was
went
in
and
which
saw
year?
the
2010, is it? That was
2010, yeah, 2009.
9.
That was a visit, yeah. So Periva wanted us to go visit the Pundit colonies which were ruined, so which was quite far from Jayeshtamata. So as we were going by car, we went to the Pundits colony. It was all ruined. We met one or two Pundits there. It just took our heart away. How the stories they told. So we just went and saw all the houses were beautiful. It was all 1+1 houses, but everything was ruined. Still, there were a few, about 10% they were there, and we spoke to them, and they were so happy to see us. As we were, we met them, we spoke to them, they told us all their stories, and then we also told them about what our mission was, what for we've come. As we were returning back, suddenly there was a shooting, and in just front of our car, somebody was shot dead.
Oh.
There was so much of curfew that time. Immediately we were in the car, and then there was no power, and then after some time everything became all right. We got scared, we went back to the hotel. So like this we started our survey for 4-5 days. We went and we went to Durga Ma, then we went to Kshir Bhavani Kovil, then we went to Hari Parbat, then we went to Markand. All these temples we just had a look. Periva wanted us to have a survey to find out where we can do something for the Kashmiri Pandits. So it all started off 2009. So we had a survey and we found Jayeshtamata was the best. But Jayeshtamata at that time was not developed at all. There was no kitchen, there was no Havanshala, nothing. So we stayed there. I had to cook in the room. I had taken my own cooker and everything. So we did a 7-day survey, and after that we took a car from the valley and we came down to Jammu by car. Then from Jammu to Mohali we took a bus. Then from Mohali to Manali we went by bus, and then from Manali to Delhi we took a bus, and from Delhi to Chennai we took a train. This was our 15-day trip. So we came back, we had a wonderful trip, we came back and we updated. It all started that way. So 2010 we started with just 4 Vaidiga. We just started with 4 of them, with just one person to cook. And slowly it started off from 2010, 2011, 12, 13 we had Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal there. So it all started. Each year it started to extend. First it was 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Then it went on to 150. So we were all wondering, how do we take this 150 people? How do we do the food? Finally, we found a wonderful cook in Trichy. His name was Saravanan Venu. So we caught hold of them the first year. They were excellent. So Periva wanted Achara Samayal to be done. So we told them to build a kitchen. So then they were very accommodative. Jeshtamata Kovil, the committee were very, very accommodative. So we told them all what we wanted. We said we don't want anyone to enter the kitchen. So they arranged everything. Then slowly after we started to perform, Jeshtamata started to grow, tourism started to grow, Kashmir started to flourish. We could see that year by year, year by year, we can see how it had developed. And I think this is all because of Pariva's Anugraham. Without Bala Pariva's Anugraham, I think even a single step could not have been kept. So it was a big task when we went in 2011 with 120 passengers. That was the first time we are checking in all the things. So vegetables are not available.
2011, you had 120, you said.
We 2011 we had, I think, about 80 of us.
The highest was when?
2000 highest was 175 before the COVID. 2018 was the best.
All stayed in
175. Yeah, it was quite tough because we had to take the dormitories also. But we managed. It was quite tough because it was very, the rooms were little packed because we had a lot of VVIPs coming in from all over India. So we had to accommodate rooms for them. Periva's visit in 2013, that was also wonderful. We had a good team. We had about 100 of us and Perivaloda or a team of 10 to 15. We had a person called, I don't remember his name. He was a Brahmin in the army head. So he was very kind enough to give the entire house for Periva. Periva landed on Amavasa Day and the entire army battalion had a wonderful reception for Periva, about 1,500 Javans. So we had a wonderful reception for Periva in the army camp. So we have formed a team. So I would like to mention about Krishnan, Avadi Krishnan. Krishnan stays in Avadi and he's very associated with Periva, does a lot of Kaingaryam for Periva. So what happens is when we get the Vaidigas, see, we are not very accommodative with the Vaidigas because we don't know what they need and everything. So Krishnan was appointed the first year he came to take care of all the Vaidigas. So from that year onwards, I have told Periva and Vijay also that Kashmir trip Krishnan has to be there, he and his wife. So the one small incident which I wanted to mention, when Puduperiva, I think Puduperiva Siddhi anadu vandu 2018, right? Am I right, Shankar?
Yes.
Okay. So 2018, Adi Shankara Jayanti, அந்த வருஷம் தான் maximum crowd. So January la vandu we have finalized everything. Dates were finalized. That was in April, I guess. So Vijay is telling me in January, akka mari vandu Krishnan wife varla akka. I said, why? இல்ல பெரியவா வந்து பால பெரியவா வந்து இருக்க இது பண்ணிருக்கா, புது பெரியவாளோட இருக்க நான் சொன்னேன், விஜய் எப்படி, ஹவு கேன் ஐ மேனேஜ் த வைதிகா, கிருஷ்ணன் இல்லைன்னா என்னால ஒண்ணுமே முடியாது அப்படின்னு. I was really upset. He said, don't worry, I'll send somebody else. This was running in my mind. And what happened, Periva Siddhi, February la Periva Siddhi aita. So Krishnan could come for Adi Shankar. So Perivale சொல்றா, உனக்கு வேணும் கிருஷ்ணனை, நான் இருந்தா தானே அவன் தடை வரும் உனக்கு, நானே இல்லை நீ அவனை கூட்டிட்டு போ. So it was very moving, that year it was really, I mean, every year whenever that Shankara Jayanti comes, I always tell Krishnan, Periva இந்த மாதிரி எப்படி பண்ணிருக்கா பாரு, that is அவளோட devotees கூட கஷ்டப்படக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு. So it all started Balapiraloda Anugraham, Pudupiraloda Anugraham. We've been touching 120, 150, 175. During the COVID, we were not able to go.
Last
So
2 years.
அப்பவும் வந்து we last 2 years. So we have somebody in the army. So I have good contacts with the army and the CRPF. We maintain a good contact, very good rapport. Every year, யார் இருக்காலோ அவகிட்ட we keep in touch. So they're able to help us. So during the COVID, the CRPF chief went up to Shankara Hill, got a salva வாங்கி அந்த சிவனுக்கு போய் ஆதிசங்கர ஜெயந்தி அன்னைக்கு போட்டுட்டு photo அமிச்சா. So 2 years of COVID, we were not able to go. Last year, we started off with 70.
Oh, even that.
So about 25 Vaidik.
No,
Yeah, 25
you
Vaidika.
actually joined us in the right time when we have done so much work. Today is our 62nd week on Kashmir. We covered enough history. We covered, most of the Kashmiri Pundits. Now, everyone started asking how we can visit. Some of the speakers who appeared.
Yeah.
So
actually,
those who
what
are
we should
listening
plan
now,
is,
what is the next step for somebody to visit Kashmir?
see, this Adishankara Jayanti happens every year. It happens either in the month of April or in May. So we start our process from January. So what we do is we finalize on the date. Supposing the next year, 2023, Adishankara Jayanti falls on April 25th. So we are now looking into the dates. 6 days before or 7 days before we leave, and the 7th day is the Purti. Adishankara Jayanti aniki we finish everything, and next day we leave back. So this Adishankara Jayanti happens each year in the month of April or in May. So those willing to join, they can contact me, and by January, and they can register, and they can give in their names. This Adishankara Jayanti join பண்றவா எல்லாருமே வந்து நம்மளவா தான். ஸோ இப்போ நிறைய பேர் வெளி பேர்லாம் நிறைய பேர் கேட்குறா எங்களுக்கு காஷ்மீர் பார்க்கணும் எப்படி போறது. ஸோ அதுக்கு ஜேஷ்ட மாதா கோவில் இஸ் அ ரைட் பிளேஸ் வேர் தே அலோவ் ஹிந்துஸ். சி ஜேஷ்ட மாதா கோவில் டசன்ட் என்கரேஜ் பீப்புள் டு கம் தேர் ஃபார் என் ஹனிமூன். Only pilgrims. Those who come to Jeshta Mata can stay there. So Jeshta Mata has a wonderful setup. They have a room with a kitchen. The entire food can be arranged at Jeshta Mata temple. We have a set of drivers who come for us for the Adishankara Jayanti. So transportation within Kashmir can be arranged. Pick up from the airport to Jeshta Mata Kovil. Stay in Jeshta Devi temple. The food can be taken at the mandir. You have to pay a minimum amount for that. And then to go around Kashmir and temples, the drivers are there, so we can arrange with them, and we can fix. If there is going to be a set of crowd of about 7 or 8 of them, we can arrange a Innova car. So accordingly, the number of days they want to stay, we can schedule their program accordingly. So
No,
we
I
have
just
to really
wanted to
sit and
remind
plan.
our viewers, we had one program by Bharat Bhushan Bhatt. In fact, I wanted him to join along with you today, but unfortunately, some family emergency, he could not. We will have another program. So, suppose we have about 20 people who are interested, not now, maybe planning to visit Kashmir. What should they do? Okay, that's why I put your contact there.
Okay. So first, what they have to do is first we have to book in the tickets. So all the tickets are quite high now. After the COVID, it's all little on the higher side. So once they decide on the dates, we can get it. It's from Chennai to Delhi, Delhi to Srinagar. So once they land in Srinagar, so we can, if they want, we can arrange for the contacts. We can tell them, that there are, we have persons to arrange a car for you. We have the drivers to pick you up from the airport and drop you. So if they want, they can stay in Jeshta Devi temple. The only thing is, in Jeshta Devi temple, all the room bookings have to be done in the website. But what Mr. Bhatt said was, if it is going to come via you and you are arranging about 10 of us, then if you tell us, supposing what he meant was, each month, if you're going to send a set of 10 to 12 people on a regular basis, then we can block 10 rooms in the website for us every month.
Okay.
So in that way, they need not go to the website and book. So now about seven of see the rooms are very. I mean, it's quite spacey there. The
So
rooms
two
in
can stay.
Jeshtamata will not be like a very five-star hotel. It will be a decent room. They will give you a good rajai double cot with attached bathroom. It will be decent enough for just to stay and go around Kashmir, and it's a very nominal fee of 500 rupees per room.
Very
So if
reasonable.
they
Yes.
stay very, and see, morning, you can make your own hot coffee or tea in the room because there's a small kitchen. They have all the vessels available there. So if you want, you can make your hot coffee or tea. Then morning, they give you breakfast. They charge you on a minimum of two chapatis, cost you 50 rupees with the
So boarding
sabji.
and
And
lodging
then
is
after,
per day is going to be 1,000 to 1,500 rupees. Boarding and lodging, food and stay.
yeah.
Okay.
See that we can work out. I mean, we need to sit with Mr. Butt and then work out on all the points, and then we can give a substantial we can tell what the amount is going to be, boarding and lodging with the food per day per person in Jeshtamata. And of course, transportation, they are open. Like you take a car where eight of you can sit, the eight of them can share it. So local, normally they charge per day for an Innova, they charge you, I think, about 3,000 to 3,500 a day. So we can work on all the logistics from the boarding, lodging, food, travel, what are the places they can visit, the temples they can visit, the sightseeing they can visit. Apart from all this, the places which are outside is um, Pahalgam, um, Sonamarg, and the one, what is that place? I'm not able to. Gulmarg.
Gulmarg.
These are the places which are a little far away. Uh, if they come as a family, they would want to see either one of these places at least. Sonamarg is very far. It's a 0 point. It's very far. So I don't know whether that is feasible. But Pahalgam and Gulmarg, most of the families who come there go and visit that place. So we can work on all these places together, like starting from Jeshtamata and all the temples and the sightseeing, the boat, the Shikara ride, everything together. We can work out the logistics and we can share it, and then we can move forward. Shankar?
I can put it in the chat. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No, what I was saying, this is not going to happen right away because you have exclusive arrangements at Jeshtamata, and that
Yeah.
needs to be discussed with them first. So we
Yeah.
need to first start receiving inquiries. If you rewind back, you will see Sita's contact, mobile number, WhatsApp, and also email ID. Please establish contact with us. We will have a Google form designed. So once we have enough inquiries, we can work out the cost details, which I think is going to be quite reasonable. It's not going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
exorbitant amount.
Yeah.
So is Arun still there? Arun, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you have any, I don't see many questions here. One thing I wanted to ask, I always do as concluding remark. As viewers are reading every day in the press what is going on in Kashmir, and as you know, Tamil newspapers are giving a lot of importance to our Kashmir cultural heritage awareness. Every Wednesday, Thursday, Dinamala writes about our program. So there could be a lot of interest in visiting Kashmir, mainly on the temple tourism. Now, during your visit, did you ever feel insecure or safety issues? That was not a concern. You didn't mention anything about that, or you touched upon that.
Yeah, as I said, right from landing in Srinagar to coming back, we did see a lot of army presence and patrols happening. Does can I mean it can arouse mixed feelings. One feeling is you feel safe that it is all there, but another feeling is that why is it there when we are not visiting any other places? So sometimes if even in Pahalgam, when we were visiting, we were you know we we did all the trek and came back. Once you are a little bit late beyond 7:30 or 8, a little bit become dark, and suddenly if you do not find them after seeing them, getting used to seeing them around, and suddenly you do not find the presence, or you do not find them even in a short distance, you suddenly start thinking, why are they not there? Are we safe? So we did feel that at some points, and also sometimes, like every place, right from Mahabalipuram, you find it everywhere. The hawkers, trying to come and sell you carpets and those things. You do feel a little bit, in the approach, you feel a little bit uh, taken aback, or you're not used to it. So we do had those moments. We did have those moments, but if we keep, obviously, like visiting any place, we keep ourselves to not venturing out very late. We don't encounter these situations. Even if you're going and visiting places, come back by
7:38. Yeah.
8 o'clock. You don't stay a long time. So just to avoid situations where you feel a little bit nervous about things, because that's one. But hearing from what Mrs. Sita said for some time back, I think probably you do take, apart from taking precautions, you could do things which make you feel safe by contacting the local people when you're going there. Especially when we went to Kirbhavani Temple, there were a lot of sensitive. There were places where
Yeah.
we found a lot of presence, and even after landing, even Marthan Temple, for example, when we land in a place, the village, there's not many people around you. When we visited Sun Temple, we were there just us as a family. Other than that, we did not find a lot of people. So you do find those moments, but like anything, we have to, we all we can do is take precautions and some level of trust. If an incident has to happen, can happen anywhere, but we take precautions, and we do think that what we can do to feel safe, we do. So I would say to your question, cutting the long story short, in your the question you asked was whether we felt unsafe. We did at some point, but when we were caught unaware, when we were returning back, but mostly we felt safe going there. We were not able, we took all the securities presence in the positive sense, rather than a mixed, rather than taking it a negative sense of it.
No, this is very important because I'm sure a lot of people are watching from the ministry, and
See,
occasionally,
some years back, Shankar, I just wanted to tell you, we were about 120 of us, and all the securities were with us. We also checked whether it is safe to go to Kir Bhavani, and they said, yeah, it is safe, and each bus had a security. As we neared Shir Bhavani temple, suddenly, see there, what happens is the small children, they are all paid 10 rupees, 20 rupees to pellet stones.
for each stone.
So yeah, so as we entered and we were nearing Shir Bhavani, suddenly we saw a stone getting into the bus.
Oh,
There was a lady sitting at the back. The stone just came and hit her, and she started to bleed. Immediately the bus stopped, and Pata, it was a small boy, it was a very small stone, but anyway, when they throw it from a distance, it broke. So the bus fellow got tense because the back glass broke. There was a crack, and this stone came inside, and all of us were panicked immediately. So then the security said nothing to worry. This was, I think, when we were returning after seeing Kir Bhavani, and it was almost 6:30. See, generally what Heriwa says is we don't go out after 7:30. We see to it the entire crowd is back into Jeshtamata by 7:30. So immediately the security was there. This boy was a small boy, for sake of money he did it. It was not a curfew or something, but every year when we go for Adi Shankara Jayanti, 1 day or 2 days we get caught in a band there. There will be total band in Shim. But those 2 days, even during the band, the drivers take us, we have to get the vegetables. The vegetable shops are known to us, so even during the band, they open it for us and give us the vegetables. Because half the vegetables are not available there, so we carry it from here. Some of the provisions are not available there, so we speed post it from here. And we take ela, chapadra ela, inge we carry 1,500 ela. We check in all those things. So the Kashmir airport knows about our stuff. So அவளுக்கு தெரியுது நம்ம என்னலாம் எடுத்துன்னு வரோம்னு.
No, in fact,
Even when we
previous session, when Vice Chancellor Nehru appeared in our show about promoting a book, he mentioned about Shankara Jayanti specifically, what people are doing from South. So,
and the one of the best beauty of the whole event is every year we come from Kashmir, தேர்சா எடுத்துன்னு வருவோம் பெரியவாளுக்கு. ஜெனரலி ஸ்ரீநகர் ஏர்போர்ட்ல அலோவ் பண்ண மாட்டோம். இந்த ஆதிசங்கர ஜெயந்தி தேர்சத்தை மட்டும் அலோவ் பண்றோம். அது எப்படின்னு தெரியல எங்களுக்கு. அத தனியா வந்து கிருஷ்ணன் தான் எடுத்துன்னு வருவான். அதை தனியா ஒரு கூடையில போட்டு அதை எடுத்துன்னு வருவான். நாங்கெல்லாம் வந்து பேக்ல இத்தினூண்டு ஒரு வீபதி குங்குமம் வச்சு அதெல்லாத்தையும் தூக்கி போட்டுடுவோம். Because security check is bad there, as Arun would have seen now when you went and came back.
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
Airport.
Right now, they do have a lot of checks, but what we found was obviously talking about it going as a group vis-a-vis a smaller family setup, because you might have seen it was there, but we didn't have any general airport. What we would do from the point of view of taking, they did not screen for anything else. But you're right about more security being there in the airport and all that.
Yeah. And 2 years back, we had 2 Swamigals with us, Kumbakonam Swamigal and Mathur Swamigal. Mathur illa, Kumbakonam Swamigal and இன்னொரு 2 Swamigal வந்தா. So அவளோட தண்டத்தை, see, when we go in for security check, so they should not touch them இல்லையா. So தண்டெல்லாம் கூட டச் பண்ணாத ஸ்ரீநகர் ஏர்போர்ட்ல ஒண்ணுமே பண்ணல. Delhi airport la paadapadtinaanga. No, when we came from Chennai airport la paadapadtinaanga. Delhi la romba panna. Srinagar airport la onnume pannala. Swamiji. Of course, we have a person in the airport called Mr. R.P. Singh. He's been there in the airport for till now. He's been there, so he's been very accommodative with us. So ellame he will get everything done very smoothly. So ellame periva எப்படியோ ஆள அனுப்புறா. Every year is a challenging year. Every year பெரியவா எப்படியோ ஆளெல்லாம் அனுப்பிச்சு.
So do you think Shankara Jayanti is different? What you have been doing, you know all the rules and you know everything. Other than Shankara Jayanti, if we start this kind of tourism, pilgrimage and temple tourism, that crowd also can be controlled and we can streamline and have a periodic visit.
Yeah. See, the main reason is we giving them the inputs is more of the safety, and we know what it is. They do not get cheated. So the main thing is why we guide them is cost wise on nammalukku avalukku we can give them a guidance, security nama help. So we can give them, we have to work on all the logistics, of course.
There is one question on the screen. What amount will be the package roughly? I mean, we can't give any figure now. Airfare alone,
so we cannot give a figure. See, we cannot give a right. Airfare will be between 20 to 25K for a round trip. Because now, post-COVID, 30% hike in the fare. Because now, yesterday I was talking to my travel agent. So I was asking him if it is going to be 120 passengers this year. He said if you do it after Diwali for April 18th, that is about 5 months ahead. I told him if he'll be able to get it between 18 to 20, he said he will try. But what happens is we block the tickets with one rate, and when we actually give the names, the rate and there is a difference in the rate. So last time it was 23,000 for an up and down ticket for one person.
Okay.
The cheapest, like we wanted to try for 22. Post COVID, it was only 20.
So yeah, based on
Before COVID.
indications, people can calculate what the budget is going to be, and we can start working at it once we start inquiring from people. Email IDs
Exactly.
and the mobile numbers are already there.
So you
Now,
can also
before,
tell them the Adishan.
Yes, go ahead.
The Adishankara dates for next year, 2023, falls on April 25th. The dates of the departure and the return is not yet been finalized. It will be finalized by His Holiness. So we are looking for the dates. So I think we will be getting the dates in about a month. So I'll be giving an update to Shankar, and Shankar, you can, once everything gets finalized, then you can start informing
Now
me in your.
for previous years, how do you get all these people coming? They just contact you and then they join, or how does it
Yeah,
work?
I have an Adi Shankar group, WhatsApp
Oh,
group. Each year I put a group. So those who wish to stay in the group, they stay back. Those who want to leave the group, they leave. So I keep updating that group each year.
okay. We
So
will
it
find out
passes
how
on
to.
all those. So there are people who come every year. I have people who have been coming for 10 years. So for
Oh,
me, it's more convenient with those people because they know, I mean, they are there to help me out in various activities.
they won't be over demanding and all.
No. And if I need something, I can just send them with the driver, the car to the shop. They know what to buy. So it's like that, like, more, I see, we need more people for service.
So
We
this,
need people.
I think we
சாதம் போடுறது
exceeded
வந்து
our.
இதுல மெயினா வந்து
exceeded our-
சாதம் போடுறது வைதிகாலுக்கு சாதம்
Okay.
போடுறது 9 கஜம் கட்டிண்டு மடியா லேடிஸ் ஜென்ஸ் பஞ்சகஜம் கட்டிண்டு we need a lot of ladies and men to help for serving the food சாப்பாடு அதுதான் சேலஞ்சிங்கா இருக்கு ஏன்னா வைதிகாலாம் they sit down and eat we also have இப்போ பெரியவாள்கிட்ட கேட்டு டேபிள் சேர் எல்லாம் we have a wonderful lawn there so அந்த லான்ல ஷாமியானா போட்டு we put the table chair because நிறைய வயசானவ வரா so அந்த மாதிரி each year we are adding something new and bhajans every year we have a cultural program so நிறைய activities வேத பாராயணம் லலிதா சஹஸ்ரநாமம் பாராயணம் விஷ்ணு சஹஸ்ரநாமம் பாராயணம் then we have bhajans in the morning and evening bhajans happen in the CRPF camp சமையல்காரம் பிரமாதமா நம்ம ஆத்துல எப்படி சமாராதன சமையல் மாதிரி காத்தால எல்லாம் வடை பாயசம் ஸ்வீட்டோட சமையல் மத்தியானம் காத்தால காஃபி டீ தென் எல்லாருக்கும் மோர் கஞ்சி பால் கஞ்சி எவ்வளவு வேணா சாப்பிடலாம் சாப்பாட்டுக்கு பஞ்சமே இல்லை அப்புறம் சமாராதன சாப்பாடு ஆஃப்டர் வி ஃபினிஷ் ஆல் த வைதிக காரம் இந்த மார்னிங் ஆஃப்டர்நூன் 2:33 வி லீவ் அவுட் எதர் டெம்பிளுக்கு போவோம் இல்லை ஒரு போட்டிங் அந்த மாதிரி என்ன முடியுதோ ஈச் டே வி ஸ்கெடியூல் அ ப்ரோக்ராம் வி ஃபினிஷ் தட் அண்ட் வி கம் பேக் ஆதிசங்கரோட படத்தை வச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம் வி ஹாவ் அ பல்லாக்கு ஸோ அதில் வச்சுட்டு ஆதிசங்கரரை வந்து வெதர் இஸ் நைஸ் இட் டஸ் நாட் ரெயின் ஜேஷ்ட மாதா கோவிலை சுத்திண்டு ஜேஷ்டா கிட்ட வச்சுட்டு அங்கே ஹார்த்தி முடிச்சுட்டு அவதாரிக்கா கட்ட பண்ணிட்டு தென் வி கம் பேக் ஹியர் ஹேவ் டின்னர் கோ டு ஸ்லீப் திஸ் இஸ் த ஸ்கெடியூல் எவ்ரி டே இஷ்டி ஆல்சோ ஹேப்பன்ஸ் இஷ்டி ஒரு ஹோமம் நடக்கும் அமாவாசைக்கு அடுத்த நாள் அவ ஆரம்பிப்பதை கம் ஃப்ரம் ஆந்திரா ஸோ அவ வந்து தானாவே சமைச்சு சாப்பிட்டுப்பா அவளுக்கு நம்ம எல்லாம் கொடுத்துடணும் ரூம்ல அவளுக்கு எல்லா சாமானும் அவளுக்கு கொடுத்துட்டா தே வில் நாட் ஈட் வாட் வி மேக் அவளே தானா ஸ்வயம்பு சமைச்சுப்பா ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி எவ்ரி இயர் ஒரு வேதம் பெரியவா என்ன இன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன்ஸ் ஆறாலோ அந்த மாதிரி அவளோட அனுகிரகம் இல்லைன்னா நெக்ஸ்ட் இயர் வி ஆர் ஸ்டெப்பிங் இன் டு த 11th year ஸோ ஈச் இயர் பெரியவா ஒரு மிரக்கல் தான் இது அவ நம்மளுக்கு தெம்ப கொடுத்துனா இந்த வருஷம் லாஸ்ட் இயர் மை பேரண்ட்ஸ் were not to come because my dad is 84 so I said அப்பா you're quite old வேண்டாம்ப்பா இது going to be cool அவருக்கு மனசே இல்ல நான் வரேன் பெரியவாள்கிட்ட போய் ஹைதராபாத்ல கேட்டா தாராளமா போயிட்டா so both my parents came of course Avadi Krishnan and his wife they are the pillar support for me so
I hope Avadi Krishnan is listening to our program today. Anyway, I think we
Yeah,
exceeded
he's
our time limits. We must
okay.
have one more session on this travel.
Yes.
More than 1 hour now, but
Yeah.
our what is
Shankar,
this?
share my number
Veda
to Mr.
Dharma
Arun and we can be in touch, Mr. Arun.
Yeah, Sita, there is a message. VDSP Sabha conducted the Veda Sammelanam during the first year. Hope Sita ji acknowledges the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, a lot of things have happened. Nariya marandu pedrudu. I mean, it's not that we don't want to tell or something. I mean, it's just that too many things happening each year, you know. So much to
No,
tell. This
we know VDSP's
half an hour,
connection with
45
it.
minutes is not enough.
I
Yes,
salute you. Salute
we
you.
will definitely have Arun. I think you should be ready to join us anytime because there are not questions here. People may think about this program, and when we conduct anything related to this pilgrimage or temple tourism, we request you to join.
Please,
And
absolutely.
thank you so much,
Thank you so
Sita
much,
ji
Shankar,
and
for
Arun.
giving me this opportunity to speak. It was wonderful talking about, you know, it takes back lovely memories. So
No, the
I
reason
wish
why
a
I
lot of
brought you
people
today
join.
is related to travel to Kashmir. You know, we covered so
Exactly.
many things. I always think about Kashmiri Panditjis who are watching this program, and
Exactly.
they should be really delighted that we are keeping Kashmir engaged. That's the only way.
It's
Like
our
many
second
speakers,
home. I would say Kashmir is my second home.
that's
Um,
amazing. Great. Yes.
to the extent a lot of things probably has originated from Kashmir, from the point of view
Exactly.
land of
Lovely. It's given us a lot of memories. We've learned so much. We've learned so much from there. I mean, it's a lot of knowledge. We have acquired a lot of knowledge from what we have seen there. So
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
think
Yes.
Arun should join us next year during this uh, Adi Shankara Jayanti. We would love to have your family there.
Thank you, and I will definitely make it a consideration.
Please.
Okay, I think we thank you all for joining, and we are now branching off into a different direction from past glory and history of Kashmir into reality. Now, we want more people to start visiting Kashmir and keep that engaged so that, like you said, even the stone throwing incident and all will just vanish one day. Like we walk in Bangalore or Calcutta or Delhi, that should be the way it is in Kashmir in future. So thank you all once again, and look forward to seeing you
Thank you.
Thank you,
once more.
Kanchana.
And people who are listening and want to know, rewind and see the address and all there, and start dropping an email or a WhatsApp message. We'll follow it up from there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, viewers. This has been a very interesting session today. As people keep asking about travel to Kashmir and what to see, I think we are able to bring from people who are more experienced, visiting every year, and also people like Arun, who joined from UK, who visited sometime in August. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring Arun on board earlier as we are booked well ahead of time. Like up to December, we have slot booked. Not to forget our partners like Dinamalar, who is doing a great coverage about our program, Kanji Mutt media channels, and finally VDSP, Raja, who has been helping our streaming activity, spending all the time right from 7 o'clock working with me and supporting this. He is always behind the screen. So thank you, viewers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and stay tuned till we meet next Saturday. Jai Jai Shankara, Hara Hara Shankara.